Welcome back to the AutoMax channel. You can see that I'm clean today, so we're not going to be getting on the tools because I don't want to get myself dirty. But we've got a project car that's made its way back into the workshop. So I'm going to tell you what we've done, or what's been done, and we'll have a little bit of chat about it. We're talking about this. The old big cat is back. So, the cat, when we last left it, if you haven't seen that episode, go and have a look at it now. It's the Big Cat Diaries, episode 1. This is episode 2. So, where we left, it was really cold and horrible. I think it was January or February, and it didn't start. We had ignition, but we didn't have any cranking. We scanned it, and it came out as an ECU fault, or something to do with the immobilizer. Now, I've got some diagnostic equipment, but I haven't got diagnostic equipment that is this old, believe it or not. I know it's only 1998, but it's quite a long time ago. So I had to take it to a friend of mine who has all this equipment, and he's in Aberystwyth. It's quite away from here. Well, it's about an hour from here. Everything's far from Dolgellau. But he then took quite a long time going through everything. He managed to then reprogram the immobilizer unit to the key, but that wasn't the only fault, so it was multiple faults. So he had to do that. Then there was a switch on the back of the ignition, so the ignition switch had burnt out, so that's why we weren't getting it to turn all the way. And then we had a micro switch in the gear selector, which didn't recognise it being in park, which also stopped its cranking. So a mixture of all those three. And when we scanned it on our machine, it only came up with one, being the ECU not being able to speak to the key. So we just thought it was that, but he'd fixed that and then found that there was these other problems as well. Those have been done. He spent a lot of time, Martin, at Ultimate Garage. He does quite a few diagnostic jobs for me in our everyday work, and he managed to sort it. So we thank Martin for doing a hell of a good job on our Jag. There's still a few niggles, but obviously we're going to sort those. Now that it's running and driving, we can crack on with that. Yes, it runs and drives. And do you know what? I bought this as a bit of a gamble, didn't I? You know, we didn't know if it wasn't driving. It had been sat next to a chicken coop, and it was feeling a bit sorry for itself. But it's surprisingly good. I haven't cleaned it yet. I'm going to save that for an episode. Jamie from Jay's Detail is going to come and give it a clean. So excuse it still being a little bit dirty. On camera it might look all right, but you can see the hood still manky, and it's dirty on the bonnet there and down the sides. But that's not the problem. The main thing is it runs and drives, and that's what I'm happy about. Yeah, there is niggles, and we'll talk about them throughout the episode. But first, let's get it on to the ramp and have a look underneath it just to see if it's going back in the bin or if it's all right. Right, there's one issue that we need to sort, one niggle. When you open the door, the window's supposed to drop to let you in, and then when you close it, because they're pillarless, it's not dropping, so I need to look into that. Now let's see if it does start, because there we go. Listen to it. I was hoping it would do that. Yeah, I give it a quick hoover just because it was full of like stones and gravel where I've been getting in and out, and well, I wanted to start on it. I wanted to play with it. You know, when you get a car, when it was sat out there not running, I was like, I didn't really want to do anything to it. I just wanted to get it running. But now it's running, I wanted to start fiddling with it and playing with it. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to put it on that ramp and we're going to have a look underneath it. But look, it fired up. It's flipping great. So luxurious in here. Right, let's cross everything. Let's cross fingers, toes, hair, nostrils, tongues, everything, and just hope that it's good underneath. As good underneath as it is on top. Let's have a look. Come underneath. Let's have a look together. Right, start at the front. Now, don't know if you can see that, but the gearbox is really, really clean. Well, apparently it had a reconditioned gearbox in it before it went off the road. So that can only be a bonus. It's been wax oiled, so you can see it's black most of the places. That's because it's had under seal on it. Now these brake pipes have been under sealed, which I don't always like. They're all right. I mean, you know, I could still use them this year, but I think by the next MOT, they're probably going to need changing just because the braking pressure in these is probably quite high, and you don't want one of those bursting because you'll have no brakes. Yeah, so that is one thing I've seen that I would probably consider changing, definitely before the next MOT. But yeah, it seems a bit like that all over really. It's like flaky, but nothing structural. Because it's had a coating of like under seal on it, it's kind of protected everything. I think the last MOT guy has yellow chalked, orange chalked these struts here, just because I think they're quite corroded, but again, we can just change those. We can change the whole strut. But it is actually, I'll get my MOT tapping thing. It is only surface, so it's not, there's bits of rust flaking off, but they're not like rotten completely. So I'm quite happy with that. This big tube is fine. Rear wheel drive, look at the big drive shafts on it, it's like a tractor. Exhaust seems all in one piece. Original as well, I think. Do you know what's really weird? I don't know if you can see here. Look where the exhausts go over the back axle. Look how thin the exhaust goes. It goes to almost like it's squashed. Weird that. I'm very happy with that. This is just luck. I've bought loads of these things over the years. Not Jags specifically. I have had Jags, but I've bought stuff on a gamble, and it's never always gone this well. I mean, I've had things that are rotten. These jacking points here on an XJ that I bought once were totally rotten, and I bought that as a gamble as well. But sometimes you know, sometimes it works out all right. Some of the components. So overall, it's had a new caliper there, so that can't be bad. You can see there, it has been stud a bit, but that caliper's new. Overall, underneath, I'm going to say it's pretty good. There's surface corrosion on components and a little bit on the brake line, nothing major, but yeah, there is surface rust on stuff. Well, it has still got an MOT on it, so it wasn't that long ago that it had an MOT. But like people said in the last comments, MOT means nothing. Depends who's done it. It could have had a dodgy MOT for all we know. But it doesn't look like it has. And I do know the garage that did it, and they're quite reputable, so might need a patch there at some point. I'm pretty happy with that. And do you know what? I'm too clean to be working under a car, so today I think we need to go for a coffee in the Jag. It's lovely in here. It's all like, I tell you what, I'll show you this in a minute. This is the only cup holder in a Jaguar XK8 that actually semi-works. That has stayed closed for now, but normally they all break. So, maiden voyage. First things first, I need the correct attire. So, let's see how it goes. The Jaguar XK8 probably isn't like, it's not a car that I always said I was going to own. But I love cars, so when I see one that's relatively cheap and I think I can, you know, just enjoy it for a bit and flip it. I like all cars, so yeah, when I see something like this that's relatively cheap and needs a bit of work, then I just sometimes gamble on it, as I've told you before. And I was quite lucky with this one, really. Lucky and unlucky. I mean, there was a point where I thought, this needs an ECU, this is never going to run again, it is parts only. I didn't want to do that, I wanted to try and save it, and thanks to Martin, we've kind of saved it. There's a few niggles, which I'll talk about later, but let's just talk about how it drives for now. I mean, I'm still in the town now, and it's lovely, but I'm still in the town, so once I get out on the open road, we'll have more of a feel for it. One niggle is, I call them niggles, does anyone else call them niggles? One is the door droppers, so the window droppers, so when you open the door, it's supposed to drop the window. That's not working. We've got a fault on the dash, so I think an engine management light it is. It says Pecus E. Now that means that there's an issue with the engine. So E, there's a few different ones on the bottom, and E is engine. So Pecus, and there is other letters. They can be Pecus T, which is transmission. In this case, we've got Pecus E, so it's engine. I'll have to scan it again to see what that is. I'm not quite sure yet what it is, but it's got two flashing lights and it says Pecus E. So that's a bit annoying. The radio doesn't work at the moment, but I think it's the code that needs recoding. And the LCD screen has failed, so I cannot recode it. But I've noticed the aerial does go up and down because it's up right now, so it's kind of semi-working. The LCD in the clock, is it a clock? No, in the climate control, that's failed as well. I think that might be common. Sometimes I think I need to adjust the gate on the gearbox because sometimes it doesn't recognise some of the gears. Now we had that micro switch changed. You have to fiddle sometimes to get it to light up the P to say it's in park, and same with the other gears. But I think that is just a case of adjusting some of the cables inside there. So I need to pull all that off and do that. I need to try the hood as well to see if the convertible hood works. So far so good though. I've only driven through the streets of Dolgellau, but it is nice. Nice and wallowy is what you'd say about a Jag, wouldn't you? But very smooth gear changes. You can tell it's had a new gearbox. It's been stood a while, few months, so I might even consider doing the gearbox oil on it. Definitely engine oil I'm going to do. So, well, I'm going to give it a full service. Do you know, you don't want to go fast in these. You could do 155 mile an hour in it because that is its top speed. But it's a big old bus, you know, I mean, what are they? They're like nearly 2 tons worth of British metal. So it's a big old lump. The convertible ones are probably, they knew they were a lot more than the coupe. I think the coupe was 47, 48 grand new, and the convertibles were more like 57, so like nearly 10 grand more to have your roof chopped off. But there's a lot more things that go into a convertible, like they have to strengthen the floors on them. You've got all the mechanism for the hood and all that kind of stuff. So it's a more expensive process in a way. So that's probably why they're more expensive. I've owned Jags before. This is not my first Jag rodeo. I've had a couple of XJ6s. Both of them were free, and I enjoyed them. I did them up and sold them. They were the same colour as this as well. I've always had burgundy Jags for some reason. But you know what? It's like sitting in a DFS sofa. You just like sat here. I don't feel the need to put my foot down and fly around in it because it's just cruising. The heaters work really well, so I'm nice and warm in here, nice and cosy. The only thing is this seat belt has been stuffed away and it hasn't been worn, and it's all mouldy and horrible. I am a bit like, I'm clean today. I wouldn't mind if I was in my work clothes, but I'm clean today and I'm like, there's mould in here and all sorts of things. I did give it a quick hoover and a little wipe down, but I wanted to leave the rest of it to Jamie. Well, when we come out of this 30 mile an hour zone, I'll give it a little poke, a little tickle of the throttle, just see how well it goes. Clock works and it is correct. We've got oil pressure there. That is correct, I assume. It's in the right place. It's in the place I want it to be. Voltage is good. We're running just over 13 volts, so it should be 14. And then I can't see any of the other information because we got Pecus flashing at us, so we need to get rid of that really. Let's give it a bit of a boot. V8 power. Yeah. No smoke coming out the back, I don't think. I'll ask the boys after. Right. Now I've got to use the brakes. Oh, got a bit of a vibration on the brakes, but it's been stood a while, and the brake discs did look a bit, well, they were corroded. They didn't look old, but they were corroded, so we might get away with it, and after a few cycles of braking, it might burn that off and clean them up. Worst case is we're going to have to put some discs and pads on it because they're too pitted. that felt like it vibrated quite a bit. That wasn't just a case of cleaning off, I don't think. But it's all right. It's only a wear and tear item, isn't it? Very enjoyable drive. I think we need to stop for a coffee. So if we go for a coffee, and then we'll have a chat about the Jag and what we're going to do with it next. When working with AutoMax on site, you get treated with coffees.
Thank you very much.
I am a very own waiter, presenter stroke waiter.
Cheers, sure.
Cheers, boys. We're doing Hoffibach or frothy coffee. Yeah, no tea today, just coffee. So, cup of coffee. Where are we at price-wise with the Jag? Everyone wants to know prices, don't they? 900 quid on buying the car. We got Martin to do his fabulous work. We had a few sensors that we bought. So that come to about 500 quid, that bill. So all in all, so far our Jag has cost us about 1,500 quid, which I have seen some spares and repairs Jaguars going for about that much. So we're probably, you know, yeah, we're probably about right. That's about right for that kind of price, you know. But this Jag is better than I thought now that it's running. I know we've still got a few issues that we're going to try and iron out, and I'll go through them as and when. But it drives lovely. It drives, it starts now perfectly. All the lights work, you know. The brakes are a little bit vibrated because I think they've just been stood. So that might clean up, or we might need to get some new discs and pads. That's just wear and tear items, that's not a problem. Engine sounds really sweet. It's actually running now, and you probably can't hear it because it's purring away in there. And when I put my foot down earlier, I asked the boys, oh, what was it like behind? Was there any smoke or anything? And they were saying to themselves, like, nothing. It's like, there's nothing coming out of the back of it. Yeah, I think we're all right. I mean, we're going to carry on driving. I'm going to get back in it because the heaters are really good and it's really cold today and windy. So I'm going to get back in it, get the heaters on, cranked on flat out, and then I'll probably have to go to a fuel station because it's a 4-litre V8 and it drinks lots of petrol. Tell you what we could do. I know it's not the perfect day for it, but should we see if the hood works? I haven't tried that yet. Look at that! I bought a skip! It works, anyway. Do you reckon it'll go back? That's the question. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. I'd call that a success. Yeah, I'm going to get back in and drive it, do some more miles in her, make sure she's all right. Just cruise round, my hat on, living life. See you in a bit. Welcome to the garage, where I'll spend most of my time while owning an XK8. Firstly, how do we get the fuel flap open, is the question. That, like that, and it works. So yeah, most of these videos we'll probably do parked outside the petrol station. Well, I'd say that's kind of a successful road test. On the way back there, we had a slight issue with the gearbox. It works, it drives still, but it was holding gears a little bit and not knowing when to change. It was a bit all over the place. I haven't had that before on one of these, but could be a common problem, I'm not sure. So if anybody knows what that could be, let us know. I think it could be something to do with the selector, because I said before that it wasn't always recognising park and recognising the gears. We've had a switch fitted, but maybe we haven't adjusted the cables quite right. So it could be that. So I'm going to look into that. It still drove, it was just holding gears a bit too long. Couldn't smell anything bad, like it was burning or anything like that, like the plates were burning inside the gearbox or something. But it is new, so I don't know, maybe it's just a little bit of fiddling and a bit of adjustment. What else have we got after the road test? Like, it drove really nice. It kept wanting to go to the fuel station, but that is a common problem with a 4-litre V8, I think. I think we'll end this episode there. We've had a quick look around. You know what's happening with the Jag. We haven't just forgotten about it. Like and subscribe, because we like that. We like it when you do that. Comment, whether it's good or bad, I don't mind. I will answer them all. if I can. And yeah, join us. Well, let us know what you want to see from the Jag next. We're going to clean it. That is quite important because it's dirty. So next episode with the Jag, maybe we'll clean it and we'll try and get some of the little jobs, the little fiddly jobs done. Clean the hood. Maybe we'll go on a road trip in it. That'd be quite cool, wouldn't it? Road trip in the Jag. Don't know where. Any ideas where we could go? We haven't done a road trip episode yet, so that'd be really cool to do that. The C1 is there. Now, by the time this goes out, we might be even racing that. So we'll let you know a bit more about that in another episode. But yeah, round up on the Jag, I'm quite happy. Well, I'm very happy actually. There's minimal work to do underneath, and there's just a few little issues that we want to iron out. But I can still drive it and enjoy it. Thanks again. We'll see you on the next one. Goodbye.
Gravity can take his arms around my legs and try to pull me.
Might need to sort that out as well.